Mr. Speaker, the difficulty many Jamaicans are experiencing financially is matched by deficiencies in 5 sectors driven by public service delivery: citizen security and social transformation, land and housing, the maintenance of roads, agriculture and food security, and healthcare. Among the many gaps in our current policies, there is a deep sense of insecurity faced by Jamaicans affected by these deficiencies in policy. Our policies focus on filling those policy gaps. Mr. Speaker, after 8 years of escalating violence under the JLP administration, in 2024, the number of murders, for the first time under this JLP administration, returned to the lower range that had obtained in the previous PNP administration, and we're very glad for that. This year, murders are down quite significantly, less than, by some around 30% down versus last year, 2024, a trend which every well-thinking Jamaican wishes to continue. Mr. Speaker, this reduction is a testament to the effectiveness of targeted policing strategies in replacement of the ineffective states of emergency that were previously employed by the Andrew Holness administration. The People's National Party has long advocated for data-driven, focused action to combat crime. Right. Our stance has been validated by the recent successes from the security forces' adoption of these strategies. This progress, though overdue, offers hope for a safer Jamaica. Mr. Speaker, the PNP's principal stance against what we believe on legal advice to have been the serial and routine use of unconstitutional and ineffective states of emergency has been vindicated by the decline in murders. Since we stopped supporting the 90-day extensions, our resolution on this matter, our resolve, together with the various court challenges by us and others, have curtailed the use of SOEs that had been widespread from 2017 through 2023. The few declarations of states of emergency in 2024 and 2025 have been short-lived and merely performative. Mr. Speaker, this constitutes a time when an opposition, through its lack of support for the SOE extensions in Parliament and its challenge in court, has changed policy to ensure a more effective, just and better outcome for the people. Mr. Speaker, the adamant reliance on SOEs proved to be a costly misstep. Aimed at projecting toughness, the SOEs failed to dismantle criminal networks and address the root causes of violence. Instead, they eroded community trust and diverted critical resources. In contrast, our advocacy for selective targeting of violent criminals has shown measurable success, without the economic damage or the stigmatization caused by locking down entire communities. So, Mr. Speaker, while we welcome this decline in murders in recent times, the Andrew Holness administration must be held accountable for the 8 years when they stubbornly refused to abandon that SOE policy, resulting in 2,300 more murders occurring, a 25 increase than if they had just maintained the average annual murders that you inherited from the previous PNP administration. Bad policy has negative results. Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, this Prime Minister holds the dubious distinction that more Jamaicans have been murdered under his leadership as Prime Minister in 2 terms than under any 2 terms by a previous Prime Minister. That is our record. Mr. Speaker, the 2024 numbers are encouraging, and it is critical to assess the 8 preceding years of stagnation and missed opportunities in crime reduction. Under our administration from 2012 to 2015, the average annual murder figure was 1,129. Still high, but the lowest in 2 decades. By contrast, the JLP's first 8 years of office, 2016 through to 2023, averaged 1,416 murders per year, a 25% increase that resulted in 2,300 more lives being lost than if our numbers had been maintained. Nevertheless, Mr. Speaker, even with the recent improvements, Jamaica's homicide rate remains alarmingly high. And this, compounded with the increase in mass shootings, is real cause for concern. Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, financial crimes that are estimated to fleece victims of over $1 billion a year remain untracked by the JCF in their weekly serious and violent crimes report. These crimes often fund organized violence and need to be addressed through comprehensive tracking and enforcement. Our policy is to build on the recent trends in the direction we left it and to make the improvements sustainable. To do so, we cannot only rely on hard policing. A balanced approach is needed to tackle the root causes of crime. Mr. Speaker, the adoption of a public health approach to violence prevention, as seen in the private sector's Project STAR, aligns with the PNP's earlier initiative, which we called Unite for Change. This model treats violence similarly to a contagious disease and addresses root causes such as poverty, poor socialization, unemployment, and inadequate education. Jamaica has an opportunity to re-embrace this model and lead by example. To solidify the recent gains, Mr. Speaker, we must adopt a comprehensive, holistic approach to crime reduction. We will target interventions on the small percentage of people and places which are responsible for most of the violence. This includes enacting legislation along the lines that we proposed in 2023 for a court-supervised process of pre-charge detention of serious criminals on whom there is credible intelligence. This will facilitate prosecutable cases being built and charges being laid within a prescribed time frame without violating constitutional rights. Mr. Speaker, we will support law enforcement by extending the Jamaica Eye system of cameras to serve strategic areas that are not presently covered and support it with adequate maintenance arrangements. Mr. Speaker, we will balance law enforcement with prevention. Law enforcement must focus on violent offenders, but community programs are needed to address underlying causes of violent crime, like poverty and trauma and social exclusion and lack of opportunities. This dual strategy reduces harm and fosters trust between communities and police. And Mr. Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to big up and thank the brave members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force who put their lives on the line for all of us every day. They too need the benefit of a proper balance of policies that can bring down crime even further and achieve sustainable benefits for our people. Mr. Speaker, we will invest in individuals who are at risk, especially our youth, through a strategy of social transformation. This will help individuals manage anger, impulse behaviors, and conflicts. It will support programs that interrupt cycles of violence, like the Peace Management Initiative, and address the root causes of violent behavior to mitigate or reduce the likelihood of future offenses. It will also provide training for employment and entrepreneurial opportunities, financial literacy, conflict resolution, and overall civility. We have to get into the lives of those who are at risk of going down the wrong pathway and take them off of the wrong pathway and put them on the pathway to productive citizenship. And Mr. Speaker, we will rely on data and evidence, using rigorous data analysis. Using rigorous analysis to guide policy decisions, to assess the effectiveness of our programs, and to ensure that resources are allocated efficiently. While the reduction in crime celebrated today is a step in the right direction, the journey is far from over. Enforcement alone is not enough. Jamaica has to address the underlying conditions that perpetuate violence. By building peace, law and order from the ground up, the nation can pave the way for a brighter and safer future.